Flosstube. Thanks for stopping by my channel. My name is Shiloh and I am a cross stitcher and knitter living in Nova Scotia, Canada. You can find me on Instagram as @Xstitchmd and on Ravelry as @Dr. Shiloh. I'll have links below to my social media profiles as well as all the projects that I talk about today in case you are inspired to start some of them yourself. So it's been a little while since my last video and a lot has happened. Most significantly is I got engaged. Very exciting. So 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend, well, fiance now, Spencer, and I went on a trip to Vancouver, British Columbia, to go hiking, and I had a sneaking suspicion he was going to propose on this trip because, I mean, we were going on a trip, which is the first time in forever. And so we went hiking the whole week. It was so much fun. It rained pretty much every day, but that was all right because we had our raincoats on and our umbrellas and we had a great time anyway. So yeah, so he proposed on the top of a mountain when we were hiking and it was super romantic and wonderful and I'm very excited, so yay. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. So we're hoping for a summer 2022 wedding. Kind of in the planning stages right now. Likely something small as we both are very averse to big over-the-top weddings. No offense to anyone who loves that, it's just not our style. We had joked that because our first date was on a hike and we got engaged on a hike that we probably should keep a tradition and get married on a hike. But I thought wearing a wedding dress on a hike maybe was like taking the theme a bit too far. So but yeah, it's very exciting and I'll have included some pictures here just of our trip and the fun we had, and it was just really nice to get away and relax and just kind of be in nature. So that was fantastic. I had never been to British Columbia before and it's an absolutely beautiful place. It was really hard to leave. Nova Scotia is gorgeous as well, but we do not have mountains here. So you who live in British Columbia, consider yourself very lucky that you have mountains because they are stunning. And it was very surreal, like, you know, going to the grocery store and in the background there's these amazing mountains because yeah, we just don't have views like that here. We do have the ocean though and some really gorgeous oceanside hikes. So thankful for that. Yeah, so that's my exciting news. I'm sure over the coming months I'll be sharing our wedding plans and such with you. Still a lot in flux. Every time we talk about wedding plans, Spencer gets very stressed and says, let's just elope. So we might end up doing that, but we'll see. I think both of our sets of parents would have something to say about that, but it's an idea. So we'll see. So yeah, lots of exciting things to come. Next thing I have to share is I got a piece framed. So a lot of you will remember that over the past year I was working on the piece Bonded by the Rain by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist who painted the original picture is Leonid Afremov, and I got it framed. So here it is. Let's see if I can get it without a huge glare. And there it is. I'm so happy with this. So there's a double mat, so there's like a beigey mat here and then a darker red, and both of these are like a linen type. So originally I had wanted like a border of fabric showing all the way around, but the problem with this is that it wasn't really straight. So it's a full coverage piece, and in just stitching full coverage, oftentimes, I don't know, maybe it's because I pulled my thread too tightly, but oftentimes the fabric gets a little bit warped, and so it was kind of like curved, or it was kind of on a diagonal a little bit. So they tried to straighten it, but they couldn't get it straight. So compromise was to just put this mat around. So it's not straight, but you can't really tell, and the mat covers it up nicely. And then I added this, or I asked them to add this fillet, which I was always pronouncing as fillet, but it's not, it's fillet. Fillet is something very different, which I think is beautiful. And then this frame is this really nice texture, like black color. So I am so happy with this. It is massive. It's really big, but it is so beautiful. And I am so excited to hang it up on the wall. And as soon as this video is done, I will be hanging it up. So super exciting. I'm very pleased with this. Yeah, so that's Bonded by the Rain by Leonid Afremov. Let's stick with the full coverage theme and I'll show you the full coverage piece I'm currently working on. So this is Bewitched Park, which is also painted by Leonid Afremov and converted to cross stitch by Artisy Cross Stitch, which is a fantastic cross-stitch site. They're based out of Australia and they have so many amazing designs. It's kind of cool. They have a lot of Leonid Afromov charts, and they're different ones than Heaven and Earth Designs have, so they kind of license different ones. So I have several of his charts from both sites. So here's where I'm at. Again, I can't even imagine, like, I don't even know how I'm gonna be able to hold this up when it's framed because it's gonna be so big. But, oh, excuse my random dangly threads. Here's where I'm at. So let's zoom in so you can see. So the way I'm stitching this is I start in the upper left corner and I'm working across across 10 squares and working my way down. But if the color that I'm working on in that 10 by 10 square extends past that 10 by 10 square, I will continue it. So I hope that makes sense. Basically, I'm working down the length of the piece and then across. So there's that. I love all these colors. You can start to see the tree trunks coming in here, which is so fun. And it's really fun working it this way, like from top to bottom, because at the top here, there's a lot of like the darker oranges. It goes into some browns, the lighter oranges, then it goes into some greens, and then black and blue as we get to the bottom. So it's really fun working it this way because I get to see all the different colors. And again, like, it does not fit. So this is going to be huge. It's 19.5 inches high and it's going to be 30 inches across. So yeah, it's going to cost a pretty penny to get framed, but I'm making this piece for my fiance. I always have to catch myself because I want to say boyfriend, but my fiance. So I told him my goal is to have it done before we get married. But I made that goal before he proposed, and now that we're engaged and possibly getting married next summer, I need to get a move on because I don't know if it's possible to finish it in that time. But yeah, I love this. I'm done about 13,000 stitches on this now. There's 187,000 stitches in it. For comparison, my Bonded by the Rain, I think, had 55,000 stitches. So this is like triple the size. It's less stitches, but it's really fun to work on. And one thing with this one too is because it's so much bigger, there's a lot less confetti in it. So confetti is when you have just like one stitch of a color all by itself and nothing near it. This has a lot more blocks of color. Like, you know, all this here is just like all black and there's like a chunk of this orange. So because it's so much bigger, you can have more blocks of color versus with a smaller piece, you often need a lot more confetti to get that level of detail. So that's just something to consider. Like, I know a lot of times people will want to do, my chair is rolling. A lot of people want to do the minis from Heaven and Earth Designs, and that's what I did for my Bonded by the Rain. I did a mini, but it does have a lot more confetti than you would get if you got the regular size. I'm really happy with it. It was not too difficult at all, and with using Pattern Keeper, which is an Android app, I found it pretty easy to keep track of all the different colors, and I carried my floss quite a bit. So like if I had a stitch of one color here and the next stitch was over here, I would carry my floss that much. I'll show you the back right now. This is just a stray floss that I need to keep doing, but like my back is not super tidy, but it doesn't matter because from the front you can't see it. The only reason I wouldn't carry floss is if it's going to show behind. So in some of my samplers that you'll see coming up, if there's like letters and they're more than 2 stitches away, I won't carry it because you can see the thread through the back. But if you want to do it, that's fine. It's all personal preference. But yeah, for my full coverage pieces, I carry it. Also, this adorable needle minder, Introvert. I got this from Busy Beaver Boutique on Etsy. I'll link it below. I think that's where I got it. Pretty sure. I got a bunch of needle minders from them recently. They're a Ontario-based shop, I believe. So a lot of the needle minders you'll see on my pieces are from there. So that is Bewitched Park. So this next whip I have to show you is a new start since my last video. And this is the Moonshine Cabin by Modern Folk Embroidery. Isn't it adorable? So this is a collaboration between Modern Folk Embroidery, Evertote, which is a business run by Caroline, who you can find on YouTube as Off the Grid Needle Arts, as well as Leo and Roxy Yarn Company, who also dye cross-stitch floss. So there's the pattern. Caroline very kindly sent me the full kit, which was so generous and lovely, and it's amazing. So here's the project bag. How cute is that? Oh my goodness, her little tag. Oh, it says on the other side. Little tag, and there's a little house, a little charm. It's so cute. This project bag is so nice. I've never had an Evertote bag before, and it is just like so well made. The inside is this adorable star print. comes with a little Notions tote, which is so cute. So cute. And I have all my floss tucked inside here, which is great. So this kit also came with the super cute needle minder, which I'll show you. It says huggy. I always forget how to say this, huggy. Probably just sound like I'm joking. I don't know how to say it, but which is a Danish word, which means cozy. And here's where I'm at. So this comes with the gorgeous Leo and Roxy fabric, which is this beautiful dark color. And here is my progress. Let me hold it up in front of this book so you don't see the shiny here. But there it is. So I actually got the chart. The pattern came with a paper chart. The kit came with a paper chart, but I got the PDF chart as well from Jacob at Modern Vogue Embroidery so that I could load it into Pattern Keeper because I just prefer stitching with digital charts. So according to Pattern Keeper, I am 50% complete. This is hard to hold straight. It is so cute. I'm really, really enjoying stitching it. And a lot of people have talked about how it's difficult to stitch on black fabric, but if I hold it up right now, like you can see through it. And so what I do is I tend to stitch with a light colored pillow on my lap. So whether I'm like stitching in bed or if I'm stitching on the couch, I have like a gray pillow. If that's on my lap and I'm holding the fabric over top of it, it kind of shines through and I find it pretty easy to see the holes. It's definitely more difficult than stitching on white, but it's not impossible. And once you work on it for a little while, you can kind of get into the groove. So that's my Moonshine cabin and my throwing things. So my plan for this one is it's going to be a present for my fiance's stepmother. So she has a couple of cabins that she rents out as Airbnbs, and so I thought this would be a perfect Christmas gift for her. So gotta get a move on to finish it, but I should be able to finish it in time. So, okay, so I mentioned that I am stitching from the PDF pattern, which means I have a copy of the paper pattern that I would love to give away to one of you. So this is the Moonshine Cabin pattern, and we are stitching this along on Instagram using the hashtag HYGGESAL, so HyggeSal, stitch along. So I'd love to give away the copy of this pattern to one of you. I'll ship it anywhere in the world. All you have to do is leave me a comment below and include the word hygge. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a recurring theme in your comment below. So it's HYGGE. And I'll draw a winner in my next Flosstube. So, such a pretty chart. Love it, love it. Which reminds me, I need to draw the winner for the giveaway I did last time. I'll do that at the end. So I have a couple other whips I've been working on as well as a few new starts. So let's show you some of my older whips that I've been working on. And this one here first one is Quaker's Pride by Xstitchmd, which is available on the Silk Stitching app. And I'm doing this as a stitch along under the hashtag Quaker's Pride SAL. So here is where I'm at. Oops, if I can. Guys, I'm out of practice. I haven't done this in like 6 weeks. I don't know what I'm doing. So here it is. So I'm making pretty good progress on this. I mean, again, if we're sensing a theme here, this is a giant project. So yeah, this is gonna take quite a while, but I'm very happy with how it's coming along. This beautiful fabric is this lovely gray mottled fabric, and this is Hazy Gray by Fabric Flare, and it's a 36 count. And I am stitching it with the called for DMC, 2 strands over 2 on the 36 count. So I do believe I made a change. I think the white it calls for is DMC Blanc, and I switched to 3865. Super pretty. I'm really enjoying stitching this. Oh, and you can see one of my hairs on there. That's a problem. I shed a lot. So there is my Quaker's Pride. Really loving stitching on that. Yeah, so that has been super fun to work on. This one I've been working on is Red Rhapsody by Rosewood Manor Designs. And I had showed this on my last video, I think, as a new start, and I worked on it a little bit more since then. This is such a beautiful chart. I really, really love it. I am stitching this on 36 count Antique White Even Weave by Fabric Flare. And here is where I am. So it's kind of just working my way down. You can see the variegation in the floss really nicely here. I'm using a sulky floss. I believe it's called Redworks. This is the floss, sulky. So it's like a thicker So it's called their 12 weight cotton. And I don't know if you'll be able to tell just from this, but it's thicker than a typical strand of DMC. So one strand of this is pretty much equivalent to 2 strands of DMC. And this is color number 4042. So I buy this on 123 Stitch, and for one of these it's $1.69 US, and you get 50 yards of single strand. So pretty good. Yeah, so you can see the variegation really nicely there. And there's my cute needle minder also from Busy Beaver Boutique. So yeah, this is probably about almost halfway done, or maybe 40% done. I don't know. I'm using a paper chart for this one, gasp, shock. So I don't know exactly how far I am, but if I compare to where I am on the chart, I mean, yeah, we'll say 40% done. So this is really fun to stitch on. I love monochromatic stitching. It's just so relaxing and wonderful, and yeah, it's really beautiful. So yeah, that is my Redwork Rhapsody, which is very fun to say. This project I've worked on in the past little bit is the Modern Folk Embroidery Fruit of Plenty 2021 Stitch Along. And I have, since my last video, completed up to part 6. So I've completed part 6, so I'm halfway done. I'm very sad because when I went to grab all my stuff to film today, I cannot find that piece anywhere. So I'm going to insert a picture here of what it looks like at this point, because I don't have it, and I'm actually very upset about this because I cannot find it anywhere in my place. I searched everywhere, searched my car. It's very stressing, but hopefully I will find it. This is such a gorgeous piece that I've loved stitching on, and I'm excited to get back to it. So please, I hope I find it. I did bring this along with me to Vancouver. I didn't do any stitching when we were in Vancouver. I did work on it on the plane ride back, but I finished part 6 back in Halifax, and I took a picture of it and posted it. So I know it's here somewhere. I just don't know where. Have any of you ever had that before, where you lose a cross stitch piece? I've never had this before, and it is very distressing, and I'm like, my piece, where is it? I really hope I find it, because the thought of restarting it is overwhelming. But you know what? I just lost it today. It'll turn up. I hope. So anyway, that is my Modern Folk Embroidery piece, which I am loving, and it is just so beautiful. Also, I heard a rumor that the 2022 piece is going to be released. Well, like a sneak peek of it is going to be released soon, so I'm really excited for that. So that's going to be fun. 2 new starts to show you that I'm really excited about. So this first one I started in honor of Black Sampler November. So those of you who watched Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery's Flosstube will have already heard about this, but basically Jacob came up with the idea of, in the month of November, either starting or working on a sampler stitch with black thread. He had designed a couple of pieces which are gorgeous, and I am hoping to start this month as well. But I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to start a piece that I had been wanting to start ever since it came out, but it is so gigantic, so I had been putting it off, but I figured, hey, it's Black Sampler November, it's time to start it. So the piece I'm talking about is Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers, and the designer had released this, I believe, back in March 2020. Maybe it was early in the pandemic, so it was celebrating her, I'm just making up things now, I feel like it was celebrating a design anniversary for her, and she also wanted to kind of tie it in with, you know, the pandemic, we're staying at home, we have more time to stitch. So she had offered this for free for about a month, and I was lucky enough to snag it then. She does have it available for purchase on her website as well, because it is gorgeous. So it's a humongous piece. It's like 365 stitches by 429 stitches or something like that. So it is going to take forever. So the needle minder I chose for this piece I think is very apt, because it says 1 stitch at a time. And that is how I will complete this piece, is 1 stitch at a time. So here's my teensy tiny little start. I am using Sulky thread. I don't know if you're seeing a theme here. So Sulky 12 weight cotton, and this is the colorway Almost Black, and the number is 1234. Makes it easy to remember. So I'm using 1 strand on a 37 count aesthetic white linen by Access Commodities. And you know, just a massive piece of linen, my little tiny start. But this is going to be really fun. I love Long Dog sampler pieces, and I don't have one on the go right now, so I was due to start one, and this is going to be a lot of fun to stitch. So I bought 10 spools. I'll probably need a whole lot more than that, but I figured I could start off with that and kind of go from there. So that is my pandemic sampler. I'm having a lot of fun stitching on it, and I'm looking forward to putting in some stitches on this to date. So the last stitching piece I have to share with you is also a new start, and I am stitching this one on the remnants of the 37 count aesthetic white linen that I had from the pandemic sampler. So this piece is the border band by Quiltify design, and here's my start. I am stitching this, like I said, on the 37 count aesthetic white linen, and I'm also using a silky floss because apparently I'm just obsessed with that, in this color, which is called, I believe, Royal Navy. Weight is 1199. This is really beautiful royal blue. I had bought this for another project, but it wasn't going to work for that, so I started it on this, and I'm really loving it. This is super fun to stitch. Those of you who follow me for a while may remember I had started this piece before 1/1 on a 28 count. And I was using a really pretty hand-dyed silk, but I ran out of floss when I had gotten like halfway through, and it was like a one-of-a-kind floss, so that thing just got, chucked. So I have restarted it on this, and I'm loving it, and I will definitely have enough floss because I bought like 10 of these as well for another large sampler. Can't remember which one, but it wasn't going to work out on the fabric that I had for it, which is like a light gray. So I will probably only need 2 of these spools for this. So yeah, that is my border band. Highly recommend checking out Quiltify design. So the designer there is Benjamin Drew, and he has some fantastic charts, so highly recommend. Okay, so the last project I have to share with you is something I've been knitting on, and that is the Stephen West 2021 Mystery Knit Along, which is called Shawlography, and it is this gorgeous shawl that was released in parts, 1 part every Friday throughout the month of October. I did manage to stay fairly caught up, which was a surprise, but I do have a little bit left to go. I think the last part came out the end of October, so like October 27th, and I'm not finished it yet, but I'm getting pretty close. So I used some absolutely gorgeous yarn from the dyer Things Created Equal, who is a Canadian dyer. I'll put in a picture here of the yarn. So the different colors, the pink is called In Living Coral, the blue is called Aquarium, the light brown is called Dad's Corduroy, the dark brown is called French Roast, and the kind of natural white color is called Wild Flax. Okay, so I'm going to show this. Stephen West said on Instagram that we're allowed to show pictures of ours without including a spoiler alert, so I'm just going to give you a spoiler alert in case you, for some reason, have managed to stay unspoiled. I always immediately would look and see what it looked like every time it was released because I love spoilers. So here is my shawl so far. So there's part 1, which was these beautiful short rows, triangle wedges, which went into this beautiful slip stitch area, and then these super fun I-cord wedges, which to me look like little shrimp. Then we went into another slip stitch section, these welts, a colorwork, triangles, baubles, brioche, and then this crisscross stitch. So this crisscross stitch was the end of section, or of clue 3. And then clue 4 is these gorgeous stripes. So I'm working my way across. Oh, and I forgot there's this wing part too. So let's see if I can show you. Also, what I think is really fun is that this, and this together remind me of Neapolitan ice cream. Did other people have that, or is that a Canadian thing where it's like chocolate ice cream, strawberry, and vanilla? So that is very fun to me. So let's see if I can show the shawl in all of its glory. So I have a whole lot left because I haven't done any of these stripes. I think there's 53 stripes, and I've done maybe like 20. I'm not sure. So I still have quite a ways to go. Maybe I'm halfway through. But yeah, this is beautiful, and I'm so excited to wear it. It's so cozy and lovely. I'm using a single ply merino yarn, which, let me grab one of my balls here. A single ply merino yarn. So it's really soft, delicate. One fun thing about it is that because it's not spun, it's really easy to just break. So when I come to the end of a color, I can just snap it. I don't have to cut it, which is really great and makes it a lot easier, especially for traveling. But yeah, I just love this. The colors play so beautifully together. It's just been such a pleasure to knit with all the different sections and shapes, and oh my goodness, I just can't get enough of it. So yeah, I will get this finished eventually. It's one nice thing, bless Stephen West. Oftentimes for his shawls, you end up with 700 stitches at the end that you then have to bind off. But the way these stripes work at the end is they're done kind of chunks at a time and you're binding off as you go. So, you know, I've already bound off this much of the shawl. And so you're kind of binding off as you go instead of having to go back and bind off at the end, which is a holdup for me for many of my shawls. I think I have like 3 shawls that just need the bind off, but it takes so long that I've just put it off. For example, my freeze frame shawl, which I showed you in the last episode, I just have the bind off left to do on that. And I said I would have it done by this episode. Haven't put a single stitch into it because why bind off, which takes forever when you could start new things, like super fun. Yeah, so that's my Shawlography. I'm so happy with it. It's so pretty. Like, look how fun these crisscross stitches are. It's just so many pretty things. And I'm excited to block it so that it's all nicely stretched out and such. I have quite a bit of ends that I need to trim. So I weave in my ends as I go using the Weaving Steven method, which I'll link it below. So what I do is I weave in my ends, but I don't cut them, so that after I block, when I'm stretching this, the ends might kind of pull in a little bit, so I don't want to cut them too short. So I leave my ends uncut. After I block it, then I cut the ends. So I don't have any ends to weave in. They just all have to be trimmed, which is very satisfying and I do not mind doing. So yeah, I don't know, like I just need to keep showing this to you because I love it so much. So yeah, that is my Shawlography. And to be honest, it wasn't until now I realized how much more I still have left to go. I thought it was close to being done, but anyway. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, I said that was my last thing, but I forgot I have one more shawl to show you, so one sec. Okay, so I have another shawl to show you, and I actually started this one at the start of October because I was waiting for my yarn for the Shawlography shawl to come, and it hadn't come when the first clue was released, so I wanted to work on a Stephen West something, so I decided to cast on another Stephen West shawl pattern called the Marled triangle shawl. And I worked on that for a bit while I waited for my yarn to come in, and it kind of got all into Shawlography. But I have worked on it on and off, and I'm really close to finish. I just have the border left to do. So let me show you this. This shawl pattern is super fun. It is worked with fingering yarn held double, and you do it in a marl. So this color here was a Full Moon Fibers. I can't remember the name of it, but if you go to my Ravelry page, I have all the colors linked. So you held 2 strands of it together. And then you transitioned into this, which was holding 1 strand of this color plus 1 strand of this purpley color, which was a Knit Picks Hawthorn, and all the rest are Knit Picks Hawthorn, just this first one was Full Moon Fibers. And then from the purple, we transitioned to that purple plus this like mixed pink purpley yellow. And then from there, transitioned to that pink purpley yellow with like a brighter pink purpley yellow. And then this final one, I actually have the 2 yarns with me. So this was that last color. This last color held with the lighter color, and then this is the darker color I'm holding together with this to do my brioche border. So hopefully I don't knock things off. So you can kind of see it right there. So that's going to be the border. So I still have about 12 more rows to do, and this is big. So I don't know if I can hold it well because I'm halfway through a row, which I should never stop halfway through a row. But yeah, it's pretty gigantic, but I love it. And I'm really happy with the fade I got going on this because I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work, but I'm super happy with how it turned out. So if you can see all the colors there. So yeah, it's really pretty. It's super fun to work on. I'm really enjoying, I've been working on a couple of projects lately that call for holding fingering weight double, and I'm really enjoying working on that. It's really fun to use like 2 strands together, and it's great for stash busting because I find a lot of fingering weight shawls don't use up the entire skein, and so I have leftover skeins and I'm like, what do I do with this? But holding the yarn double, I'm using up like the entire skein, which is nice. So yeah, so these 2 colors are also Knit Picks Hawthorn. Again, who knows what the actual color name is, but it's on my Ravelry page because I put it there immediately and then I throw the ball band because, you know. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's a really simple pattern too. It's a knit 5, purl 5 in a repeating pattern. So super easy to do, and then a brioche border, but it's just 1 color brioche, so there's no purling. Super easy, super fun. It's been great TV knitting, and I'm excited to get that finished off. And now that I'm here, I need to knit a few stitches on it because I'm obsessed with it. So that is all of the projects I've been working on lately. So let's go to my giveaway because I wanted to pull the name for that. Okay, so in my last video, I had announced I had a giveaway for this chart, which is the Ackworth Birds 1 by Xstitchmd. yes, by the designer is Uta Shear. And it's this beautiful pattern, Quaker pattern with different colors of pink and birds. And Dorothy had very kindly sent this pattern to me to give away. So I drew a name for the winner and I will insert that here. So congratulations. If you can send me an email, my email address is linked below, and I've also commented on your comment. So you should have gotten a notification from YouTube as well. If I don't hear from you within a week, I will draw a new winner, but hopefully you'll get back to me, send me your mailing address, and I can mail that out to you. So that is last time's giveaway. And just a reminder, this week's giveaway is the Moonshine Cabin paper pattern from Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. And if you want to enter for that, leave me a comment down beloo and include the word HYGGE, the unpronounceable, somewhere in your comment so that I can search for that when I'm doing the random comment picker, and hopefully you'll be a lucky winner. If you're not and you want to join in on that stitch along, you can buy the PDF pattern from Jacob. You can get the kits with the paper pattern from Caroline at Evertote. I highly recommend checking them out because they have amazing, amazing stuff. So, all right, I think that's all the stuff I have. I think that's all the stuff I have for you this week. Again, I feel out of practice. I need to get back to doing this more often. My trip to Vancouver kind of threw off things because that would have been a normal week that I was recording. But I'm hoping to record again the beginning of December, maybe the second weekend of December because I'm off that weekend. So I will hopefully see you back then. In the meantime, thanks so much for all of your wonderful likes and comments on Instagram. There were so many lovely comments on Spencer and I's engagement photo, and I had tagged him in that photo and he was getting like 5 million notifications and he was like, what is going on? So he was really touched by how sweet everyone was, and my parents were as well because they took a look at it and they're like, oh, all of your cross-stitch friends are so happy for you. So that was really sweet and we really appreciate it. We're super excited for the future and what comes next. So yeah, that's all I have for you this time. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend, that you're staying safe, staying healthy, getting lots of crafting done. And I'm glad that you let me be a part of your stitching time. So until next time, take care and I'll talk to you soon.